What's up guys, Orain here. So the AirPod Pros came out probably about 7 months ago, and when they were first released, they were touted as being everything that the AirPod 1 and 2 weren't, and they addressed some of the issues that AirPod users kind of had with the AirPods 1 and 2. A lot of people complained that it was very hard to actually work out with those things because they would fall out of your ears from time to time. They didn't have noise cancellation. Some of them had wireless charging cases. Some of them came without wireless charging cases. The Pro was slated to deal with all those issues. It was redesigned to stay better in your ears. It had active noise cancellation. It came with a wireless charging case. It was the Pro set of wireless headbuds for any Apple user. Now, seeing as Apple has recently been in development of the new AirPod Pros and they're kind of slated to be announced within the next couple of months, I figured it was a good time for us to kind of take a look back at the AirPod Pros that came out in October and see if they are still worth your money in 2020. So in this video, we're going to just do a quick revisit review of the AirPod Pros, see if they're still worth your money, see what I think of them after prolonged use after 7 months. So without further ado, let's get started. Now, I'll start off by saying that there's a lot of cool tech inside the actual new AirPod Pros themselves. So we're just going to run down the technology that's actually in these wireless headbuds, just to kind of give you an idea of what Apple was aiming for when it released the AirPod Pros back in October. So the Pros have active noise cancellation, adaptive EQ, transparency mode, a vent system for pressured equalization, and custom high dynamic range amplifier. Design-wise, the size and weight of the individual AirPods are about 0.86 inches wide and about 1.22 inches tall. They weigh about 0.19 ounces. And meanwhile, the charging case itself has a Qi-based wireless charging. It's 2.39 inches wide, 1.7 inches tall, and the charging case only weighs about 1.61 ounces. Now, I'll start off by saying I was never really a fan of the initial AirPod design. The 1 and 2s for me, they would just look kind of weird, like a cigarette hanging from your ear or that teardrop look, whatever you like to call it. I didn't like those designs. Apple didn't stray too far away from that design when they're designing the AirPod Pros. You'll see that the stems are a little bit shorter. One of the major things that they did listen to users about is the AirPods being secured in your ear. Whether it's by attrition that they had to kind of address the active noise cancellation bug that people wanted, this kind of addressed both by putting those little rubber tips at the end of the AirPod Pros themselves. They make the AirPods kind of stick in your ear a little bit more snugly, and that way it doesn't fall out. If you're jogging or doing any kind of strenuous exercises, they tend to stay in your ear a lot better than the AirPod 1 and 2. The overall design, it looks alright. It's not groundbreaking, it's not anything that's special, but AirPods kind of have that unique design that's going for them. You either love them or you hate them. The AirPod Pros are still somewhere in that camp. I am not in love with it, but I don't fully hate it. I just tolerate it. It looks okay, it looks cool, but all that really matters to me is not the look of the actual earbuds, but the actual functionality of the AirPod Pros themselves, sound quality wise. And while using the AirPod Pros, I can tell you, I'm not really a sound engineer or a sound guy, but I know good sound versus bad sound, and these sound good. These are not bad sounding headphones at all. You don't get that tinny kind of echoey sound that you may get from like cheaper headbuds, and you don't get that loud just noise sound that you get when headbuds try to be too loud to cancel out outside noise. These are an excellent balance of you're getting some really good audio, and I listen to a wide range of different music. I listen to anything from rap to hip hop to rock, and I never had to do any kind of EQing. I never had to do any kind of adjustments to the actual headbuds themselves to make them sound really good. I just put on my music, listen to it, and they sound phenomenal. They did a fantastic job with the sound of these headbuds, and with the noise cancellation activated, they sound even better, of course, because you're blocking out any ambient noise that's surrounding you that may interfere with the sound quality of the music that you're listening to. One of the caveats to this, though, is with the active noise cancellation on and your music turned up to anywhere from 50% and up, you're going to be blocking out the entire surrounding that you're in. So if you're in a place where you have to kind of keep your wits or your cognitive senses about you at all, you probably don't want to engage that active noise cancellation, or you probably don't want to turn up the music too loud because you're just not going to hear anything. You're going to be fully immersed, which is a good thing sometimes, and sometimes it's not. Another thing that I found really cumbersome for me goes back to the design of the AirPods themselves. The stems are a little bit shorter, but you do activate a lot of the controls from the AirPods via those small stems that are on the AirPods themselves. I have pretty big fingers, so it was difficult for me to sometimes activate the noise cancellation, activate the music. It just became a little cumbersome for me to actually start pinching the AirPods on a day-to-day basis, and I just kind kind of defaulted to the controls on the iPhone itself versus doing the controls on the AirPods, which kind of defeats the purpose because I had to take my phone out of my pocket in order to access those controls. Again, it really just goes back to the overall design. I understand what Apple was going for, it just didn't work that well for me. Now you also have to take a look at comfortability, I think that's the word, or just how comfortable they are over the long term of using these things. I did, after prolonged use, experience some discomfort. It started to press up against the inner ear a little bit, and there started to be just a little bit of pain that made me want to take a break from the AirPods themselves. Again, the sound quality is great. It's just, I'm going back to this design. It seems like the design is the biggest issue that I have with the AirPod Pros. After prolonged use, after 7 months, I couldn't use them for longer than maybe 2 to 3 hours without experiencing any kind of issues. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't use your headphones that long, then you're fine. But if you're somebody like me that can go into a music session for a couple of hours and just have my headbuds in on a continuous basis, you can run into some issues where they become a little bit uncomfortable. Now, on the topic of prolonged use, I was able to get about 5 hours worth of battery life without charging them in the case itself. Now, Apple has said you get about 4.5 hours. I was able to get 5, but I was starting and stopping, so it wasn't 5 full continuous use hours. So you're probably looking at about 4.5 to 5 hours. The case itself also, just like any previous AirPods, acts as a charger. You can always just store your AirPods inside the case. It actively charges them as it sits. The case is going to give you about 24 hours worth of charging. So in total, you do have a long charge if you're going on a trip, if you're taking it to school, if you're taking it to work. If you're not using them, you throw them in the case and they charge just like any other earbuds that you can probably purchase on the market. But I got really great battery life out of the AirPods, so that's definitely not one of my complaints. The charging itself, they do charge fairly quickly as well, so I didn't have any issues. When I did bring it all the way down to like maybe 5 or 10%, for the AirPods, I just threw them in the case and within 30 minutes, I was back up to about maybe 50 to 60%. So they do charge extremely fast. The case does hold the charge for about 24 hours. I didn't have any issues with the battery life at all. Now, like I said before, the case is wireless, so you can activate the wireless charging on it. I never got the big whoop about wireless charging, so I never really used it myself, so I can't really speak on that. But they are IPX4 water resistant. That means you can't swim with them, but they are sweat resistant, so you can take them to the gym and get an extraneous workout and don't worry about sweating on the AirPods themselves. They are sweat resistant, so you're fine there, and they're probably going to handle any kind of rain. As long as you're not in a torrential downpour, you should be fine there as well. Just don't wash these things or go swimming with them and you should be fine. They also have that Apple Magic chip, so when you open the AirPods next to an iPhone, it's going to automatically connect, and once you connect it to your iPhone, you're connected across all your Apple devices. That's the Apple ecosystem in general, and that's one of the best parts about being in the Apple ecosystem is everything is really simple. These, however, are still compatible with Android and Windows. If you have like a Windows laptop or a Windows computer like I do, and you want to connect these things up, they do connect. You have some very limited controls though. You don't have all the bells and whistles you would on an iPhone. On an Android phone, these are basically just headbuds. They're just, that's what they are. They don't have any additional controls. They don't have any additional things that you would get on the iPhone itself. They just connect, they play your music, and you're good to go. So if you're an Android user, I probably wouldn't recommend these. There's some really cool buds that you can purchase that are compatible with all the features and great things that Android has to offer. If you're an iPhone user though, these may be the buds you want to purchase, especially if you had a pair of AirPods before and you actually enjoyed using them, but you wish that they didn't fall out of your ears so easily, or you wish that the battery life was a little bit longer, or you wish you had active noise cancellation and some super EQ with the Apple chip inside, then these may be the AirPods for you. So would I recommend the AirPod Pros? Not if you're an Android user. If you're an Apple user, probably. I would still say do your research. There's some really cool headbuds that are out there that may function just a little bit better, may have just a little bit more sound, and may be a little bit more comfortable. But if you're an AirPods user and you had either the AirPod 1 or the AirPod 2, and there are a ton of you guys out there because these things are extremely popular. I walk down the street all the time and I see everybody with AirPods. So if you're one of those people that already have the AirPods, then you probably would serve by getting the AirPod Pros because they are definitely an upgrade in a vacuum to the AirPods 1 and the AirPods 2, an extreme improvement over those two devices. They fit better in your ear. They're a little bit more comfortable than those are, even though you lose the comfort every now and then if you use it for too long. Battery life is going to be better, the chip is going to be better, the sound is going to be better, you have noise cancellation, and a wireless charging case included. I'll definitely recommend this to someone who has a pair of AirPods or looking for a pair of AirPods. These are the ones you want to buy. So let's quickly run down the pros and cons of these things. Good fit with the new ear tips that it comes with, and you do have different options so you can get a better fit. Better sound thanks to the improved fit. Good active noise cancellation. This thing is fantastic, fully immerse you in your music. And the case is still very portable. It's not any bigger, it's not any smaller. It fits perfectly in your pocket. Some of the cons I have is they are a little pricey. It still charges via the lightning cable, so you don't have a USB Type-C port, but you do have wireless charging if you're a wireless charging person. And the design still looks like AirPods. They're not any different. They don't change that much. So anyway, guys, that's my look back at the AirPod Pros. If you have a set of AirPod Pros, or if you have a set of AirPods and you're planning on buying the Pros, I want to hear about it. Go ahead and comment in the comment section down below. Do you love your AirPods? Do you love the AirPod Pros? Or are you one of those people who love the design of these things? Or are you one of those people who hate the design of these things? Comment in the comment section down below this video. And while you're down there, hit that like button and that subscribe button with that bell for notifications so you don't miss when I release some cool, helpful content like this one. Until next time, guys, I'm going to put up the original AirPod Pro unveiling and kind of troubleshooting that we did here. And this is something that YouTube believes you'd enjoy watching. Guys, thank you so much for checking out the video. And as always, make sure to stay safe and peace out.